All right, Dixie, we're talking 8-6A, which, man, over the last couple of years, maybe it was just last year, we've had trouble getting them in a lot of teams in your preseason rankings and definitely in the final rankings. But there's some solid players in this district. And I teased last week, I don't think Lake Highlands will play South Grand Prairie in the first round because I think both of them are going to win their districts. I think South Grand Prairie has what it takes to win their district. Tell me what you think about this district and what Arlington teams will spark your interest as well.
Last year was one of the craziest districts. Every week when we were on our Digging for Wisdom podcast, we were just, there's always one result. We're like, we just can't figure this out. And Arlington Martin really seemed like they could never figure it out. And they ended up not making the playoffs. And we had four-way ties and three-way ties and some crazy things going on last year. But South Grand Prairie feels like they've got the complete team this year. They got Dalen Brooks coming back. They got four underclass linemen who were coming back, who made all district honorable mention last year. 1,750 yards passing, 19 touchdowns for Dalen Brooks last year. He had 270 yards rushing and three touchdowns running the ball. But, he doesn't have to run the ball much because they got Josiah Lewis coming back. The last couple of weeks, we've been talking about stud running backs going back to 6-6A and Travis Agee and Chance Coley, and last week with Christian Rhodes. Josiah Lucas has got more yards than
Yeah.
all those running backs coming back. He had 1,400 yards last year. South Grand Prairie is positioned to be the district champion in a very parity-driven district because I think, as we found out last year with Haltom coming out of nowhere, there's a lot of teams that are going to be competing for the other three playoff spots. But I think South Grand Prairie has already preseason Ward, and we're in July. We're punching their ticket. We got them, Ward, number
I,
one
I
in
feel
our
I feel
district campfire.
I definitely feel good about them. But then you go down into Arlington ISD where some of the big dogs lay there, or at least traditional big dogs. We know Martin struggled, didn't make the playoffs. They are building a nice little stadium out there for him. Um, Jesse Ford, I've had talked about him for the past, I guess, 3 years. So this will be year number three. The guy's just a monster at the defensive end. Lamar, we'd love to talk about, but as you're going to tell us, a lot of their players are just getting poached. I mean, we talk about a couple going to Duncanville, one going to Trinity. I mean, talk about the Arlington ISD schools and which ones you might come out the rumble and make them give a little run.
And despite all of that, I'm very high on Arlington Lamar. It's very ironic because I was reading this article from about 3 years ago when I was doing I was Googling names to make sure, if I could find where they are or whatnot. And a really good article, I think it was from 2022, came up from Greg Riddle in the Dallas Morning News, talking about this ninth grade class at Arlington Lamar and talking about like John Meredith and, a couple of these players had ended up transferring at Duncan. I'm like, most of these guys are gone now. But one of the things that the coach was excited about was the depth of that freshman class, and they got all of that depth coming back. So there are still some really talented players at Arlington Lamar who have been together despite some of the high profile transfers. Jaden Shaw in the 7-on-7 circuit has lit it up. I think he's going to be really good at quarterback. Replacing Gannon over there, Gannon Carey, who was the quarterback for the last couple of years. Wide receiver, Ward. This is like wide receiver Arlington ISD. You got Camille Pruitt, you got Zion Johnson, and Shahariam Thurston, who's already as a sophomore got a Michigan State offer. This is a really, really good set of receivers that Shaw is going to be able to throw to. And you talk about the players that are still left. Braylon Williams. I mean, at linebacker, he is absolutely incredible. Arlington Bowie is another team who might feel disrespected, like, hey, what about us? We've been at the top of the district the last couple of years. Looking at kind of their spring football recap, they've got 12 players with offers as well. They may not be the power schools, but they got players who are just, the D2s, the D3s, but are really talented players. And the coaching staff over there, Coach Sam, is doing a good job marketing them and recruiting them and developing them. Jaden Bibbs last year got some unexpected time because he had to go in the second round and play in the playoffs. And even in that playoff game, he was 22 of 33 for 231 yards and three touchdowns. He's their full-time quarterback now. He's had a whole offseason to develop in 7-on-7. Kadrick Sunday Brown, 439 yards receiving last year and four touchdowns. AJ Burdow, 5 touchdowns and 547 yards. I really like their running back, Denzel Ponder. So Arlington Bowie has definitely got some really good talent there, but it's the rest of the team. It's the depth, it's the secondary that really have me cause for concern, which is why I don't have them higher up there. But from 4 to 6, it is wide open. You got Arlington Martin, you got Arlington, and you've got Haltom, teams that were competing last year for the playoffs. And I think a couple of the teams that made the playoffs last year may not make the playoffs in this district. And unfortunately, I think that starts with Haltom. And
Yeah.
Haltom they love making us look foolish last year. I know we made it on their bulletin board a couple of times, Ward.
Yeah.
Coach Tucker does not like when we disrespect them. And what is he going to get in the campfire? A little bit of
Disrespected.
disrespect, Ward. Just a little bit of
Exactly.
disrespect because they got Rodrigo Roberson coming back, who had 1,600 yards. We talk about all these players. It's like we keep one upping over the running backs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we got him back coming back. He had 1,600 yards and 17 touchdowns and 150 yards receiving last year. So they are a completely special team with him at leadership. But who's everybody else, Ward? They graduated a lot of players. Gabe Seeley and Dominique Moonvyong are two players who kind of rotated in at quarterback, and I think we may see them. Matthew Turner coming back at wide receiver at 190 yards receiving. But it's the defense, Ward. And last year we saw a lot of crazy shootout games, and Haltom is going to have to hope that the district turns into one of those kind of districts again for them to sneak into it. And that leaves Arlington and Arlington Martin. And Ward, I did it last year, and I guess I'm just going to keep dying on the hill. How many of my L's last year did I get picking Arlington Lamar? Like, this is
Martin
going to
was
be the bounce back week, Ward. This is going to be it. It never
they,
was it.
they
And
let
at
you down.
some point, you gotta sell the stock, but I can't do it, Ward. I got to stay on
You can't
especially
quit him,
talking
man.
about Ward. But Hunter Squires is coming back at quarterback. He had almost 1,200 yards passing. They're building them that nice new stadium, maybe an Inside High School Sports special coming up. We might have a little feature, a little social media on that. But Javian Priest Jones looks like the real deal. He's got college offers at running back. Dalen Cobb is coming back. I feel like the depth for Arlington Martin and the superstar depth is coming back for Arlington Martin. So I am going to die on my sword again, Ward. I'm going to put him number 4, but it's a very tentative number 4 right now, especially since Arlington beat them up last year,
Yeah.
and they got their quarterback coming back, and Coleman Cravens. They got their running back coming back, and Jamar Burton, who had 800 all-purpose yards, 7 touchdowns last year. But the problem for me with Arlington last year is they were very turnover prone, and I think if they continue that turnover proneness, they're going to struggle in this district with the makeup this year.
Maybe talk a little bit about the last two teams, Grand Prairie and Sam Houston. Sam Houston broke a string of a ton of losses in a row last year as well as Creekview did. But maybe talk about Sam Houston and Grand Prairie.
Yeah, Grand Prairie, had the coaching tragedy in the offseason, so they have to kind of figure out, the new leadership over there. Peyton Rice is coming back at quarterback, 860 yards passing. Michael Green is back at wide receiver, 400 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. But again, and that's my issue with Haltom is the depth. Grand Prairie's got a couple of really high line talented players, but from 5 to 25, those players are going to struggle and give up a lot of points in this kind of in this kind of a district. And Sam Houston, they got Jalen Harper coming back. I mean, this is a guy who last year had 800 yards rushing and 8 touchdowns in a very when they were struggling for wins, they were struggling to find points on the scoreboard. He was still shining in this district. Jordan Washington, as a freshman last year, also got some playing time, and I think that he's going to be a help for them. But again, with Grand Prairie and Arlington, Sam Houston, it's just depth and numbers. You're going to go out to those games and see 30, 35 kids on the sideline. They just don't have the numbers to sustain against the bigger teams in this district who all have really good established football programs. So I think they're going to be on the bottom half of the district. But even though in each of the last couple of years, Sam Houston and Grand Prairie have been great stories, despite not making the playoffs or knocking on the door but not quite getting there. Or in your case, like last year, Sam Houston just getting wins was great to see.
Absolutely. All right, run down 1 through 8 for me.
Number 1, I got South Grand Prairie. Number 2, I've got Arlington Lamar. I got Bowie at number 3, Arlington Martin at number 4, Arlington High at number 5, Haltom at number 6, Grand Prairie at number 7, and the Texans from Sam Houston, number 8.